Our next guest is eyeing the 5th District congressional seat that Congressman Chris Murphy is leaving in his quest to become Senator Murphy. Republican Mark Greenberg has founded 3 businesses in his lifetime, 2 telecommunications businesses and a real estate investment, management and development firm that is one of the largest of its kind. He has run for office before and he's running again, and he's here to tell us why. Mark, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
So tell us, why are you getting back in the race?
Well, I'm back in the race because the country needs leadership. The country needs a person of my background who has a business background to straighten things out. Things are way out of control. Spending's out of control here in Hartford and in Washington.
And why do you think that is? Because of a lack of the kind of experiences that you have, or? Well,
the fact of the matter is that a lot of folks down in Washington are career politicians. They're not business people. They're in D.C., and they vote in a way to get reelected time and time again. They don't have the background of me, and they're simply not suited for the country at this point.
So tell me, what's one thing that you would be down there doing that's not being done?
Well, one thing that we have to do is we have to create a simpler tax code. Much too complicated, too many loopholes, too many exemptions. The marginal rates are too high. Corporate taxes at the business level have to come down. We have to create an atmosphere where businesses are going to invest again, and businesses know that when they invest, there'll be certainty in the future.
So you're a businessman, so I'll ask you the question that I just asked our last guest. How much do you think that the raise in Connecticut's taxes affect business owners in terms of when they're going to make moves or how they're going to make moves?
Well, it's absolutely devastating. I speak to folks all the time, and simply increasing the sales tax from 6% to 6.35% has affected people. Broadening the tax has affected people. Increasing the income tax has affected people dramatically. There are folks now that I speak to who are trying to sell their home to move to another state. Unfortunately, they can't sell their home because their house values have gone down, and sometimes they're underwater. So I think we're in a terrible situation in this state, and it's only getting worse with this democratic tax and spend philosophy.
So do you think that businesses will move out? I
absolutely think they will move out. They'll try to move out.
You obviously have had businesses in other states, right? In other states?
I've had businesses in New York, yes.
So what do they think of Connecticut?
What does New York think of Connecticut?
What do New York business owners think about
New York, Andrew Cuomo is a Democrat, okay? But he acts more like a Republican than Mr. Malloy. He's doing things which are positive. He's reducing spending in New York. Right now, there's tremendous growth in upstate New York, where I visited to New York 26 to try to get that candidate elected.
Right.
We have optimism in New York. I'm afraid at this point in time we don't have optimism in Connecticut.
So one of the other main focuses, at least at this point of your campaign, focuses on the redistricting going on in Connecticut. And one of your opponents, Speaker Donovan, is obviously running for the seat as well. And you think that he should recuse himself from being on that committee because it obviously sets up the boundaries for his congressional...
Well, I think he should step down. And I find it very interesting that almost everybody agrees with me. The folks back here of the Hartford Courant, they've agreed with me. Every other news outlet has agreed with me, radio stations. There's only one person I know in Connecticut who does not agree with me.
Well,
that's Chris Donovan.
He says that the Constitution requires him to be on that.
Look, the Constitution may call as a matter of course for the House Speaker to be on the commission, but that doesn't mean a person shouldn't recuse himself because it's a conflict of interest.
But it's a bipartisan commission. Isn't that a check and balance that you can trust?
No, it really isn't. He's the House Speaker. He has the capability of saying to his friends, the other Democrats, I really need this, guys, because I'm running for Congress in the 5th District.
But there's other Republicans on there that can say, well, that you might really need it, but...
Well, I think he has undue influence on the commission. And I think, as a matter of course, just like one would do in private practice or in the private sector, it smells wrong. He should step down.
Are you also calling for the other members who are up for re-election on that committee to also step down? Or?
No, but it's different because Chris Donovan's running for higher office. The other folks are running for re-election in their own districts. I don't think it's analogous at all. I think it's a different situation.
Is this too much like inside baseball, or are you hearing about this from people that you're out talking
I hear about this from everyone. There's not a single person other than Chris Donovan who doesn't agree with me. It's very easy. Step down. Let other folks make the decision. There will be another Democrat on the committee in his stead. Let them make the decision. But it seems wrong.
Okay. So, I mean, once you get past this part of the campaign, what else are you going to be? I mean, obviously you're going to be talking about jobs and the economy. That's your main focus?
Well, jobs and the economy, but really, we're going to go down to Washington to change the atmosphere. These folks down there do things in order to get themselves reelected. They exempt themselves from Obamacare. They do everything in order to get themselves reelected time and time again. And there's a culture of careerism down there. We need folks to go down who clearly intend to go down for a limited amount of time as what was intended and then come back to their district.
But do you think they're ready for that? I mean, we were just talking about the public policy poll that came out, and it said that Congressman Murphy was our most popular congressional member, and people might not have the impetus to make a change.
Well, I don't know whether they will or they won't at the state level, but I know that people want term limits. People want 71% of the people want term limits now in a recent poll. We want to have people to go down with a fresh outlook and then be prepared to come back, be prepared to lose an election perhaps, to do the right thing, the principled thing, the honest thing. And this is what we need out of our representatives.
So I've heard you say this before when you were running. You're continuing your message. What do you do different this time to make sure that people take it to heart?
Well, we do the same thing as last time, but more of it. We speak to folks at the RTC level virtually every night, sometimes twice a night. We speak to other groups, Rotaries. We'll speak to anybody who will listen to my message, frankly, and it's going very well.
Is there anything new that people are approaching you about, or is it more the same issues, more intensified?
Well, this time around, I call it the Nixon silent majority that has become the vocal minority. People are more frustrated than 2010. They're a bit more angry about what's happening. They're a bit more angry about the fact that they're holding on to less money on their own and they're losing control. A lot of folks don't think that it's going to make a difference who they send to Washington, which I think is a terrible indictment upon the system.
Well, yeah, I mean, and how do you assure them that that's not the case?
Well, I'll counteract it by going down and doing what I think is right, what's honest, what's principled, and not worry about whether I'll be reelected. I'd like to be reelected if I can continue to do the right thing, but that's not the most important thing in my mind. Going down to do the right thing and being a fresh voice and a principled voice is the most important thing for me.
We are a long, long way from the actual election. I mean, you ready for this long of a campaign?
Well, it's a grueling campaign.
Yeah, it is.
It's a marathon for sure. And this is part of what you have to do to prove yourself and to be interviewed by the constituents of the 5th District.
You know, people will be interested in knowing your opinion about a lot of things. What's your take on the upcoming job session? I mean, as a business owner, and what do you think? You have high hopes that something might get accomplished? Do you believe that it can be accomplished?
No, not really. We have to change the system in this state and in the country. We have to make it possible for small businesses to invest, possible for those folks to hire new people.
And is the biggest factor in that taxes?
Taxes, the anti-competitive nature of the state, the regulations in the state. This is the highest taxed state in the nation at this point in time, and getting only worse. So there are very few companies that want to come to this state, unfortunately. We have to change the system. We have to change the outlook. We have to make this state more business-friendly.
All right. Mark Greenberg, thanks for being here. I always appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Don't forget, if you missed something here on The Real Story, you can now watch it online by going to ctnow.com. You can also catch us on YouTube. And please follow me on Twitter at Lori Perez. If you have a topic or guest idea, please send them my way. Have a great week, and we'll see you here again next week.